It's 5 p.m., the deadline is tomorrow, and instead of opening that document, you are suddenly intensely focused on arranging your pens by color. Putting things off is traditionally framed as a character flaw, the mark of someone lazy, undisciplined, or just bad at managing a calendar. Many of us respond by doubling down on productivity tools. We try Pomodoro timers, color-coded schedules, and sheer willpower. But these external pressures eventually fail because the internal cycle hasn't changed. Procrastination often functions as a self-protection strategy. It provides a way to distance our ego from the tasks that feel most threatening. Pushing a project to the 11th hour creates a built-in excuse. If the result isn't perfect, we can blame a lack of time rather than a lack of ability, effectively shielding our self-worth from judgment. This complex avoidance behavior is a deeply ingrained emotional habit loop. Breaking it requires us to stop looking at the clock and start looking at the biology of the brain. Every habit loop begins with an emotional cue. The trigger is usually a task that lacks personal value or feels like a direct threat to our competence. This pressure is compounded by the Zeigarnik effect. When a goal is left unfinished, it stays active in your mind, generating a persistent cognitive tension that demands resolution. Your brain registers this mental weight and task aversiveness as an acute biological stressor. The body responds to this perceived stress by instinctively seeking an immediate emotional escape hatch. This initiates a neurological conflict. The prefrontal cortex focuses on long-term goals, but is overpowered by the amygdala seeking immediate relief. Engaging in delay discounting, the brain devalues future consequences to stop current discomfort. This shift makes perseverance impossible, prompting you to abandon the work. Walking away from the task triggers a biological reward. The moment you close the laptop, the brain receives a hit of dopamine, providing instant short-term mood repair. This relief is a temporary comfort that prioritizes the present self at the direct expense of the future self. The dopamine hit reinforces the anxiety avoidance loop. It ensures that the next time you face a difficult task, the urge to procrastinate will be even more familiar and much harder to resist. While the habit loop is powerful, it is also subject to biological change. Data shows that the urge to procrastinate tends to decrease as we age. This is partly due to myelination. Over time, the nerve fibers in the prefrontal cortex develop a thicker protective coating, physically speeding up the transmission of signals and improving baseline self-control. As we accumulate life experience, we also improve our emotional regulation, helping the brain literally outgrow its more impulsive tendencies. Biological maturation helps in the long run, but we can also use specific mechanical routines to intercept the avoidance loop in the short term. The 5-minute rule is a behavioral hack designed to awaken the prefrontal cortex. It relies on a simple commitment to work for just 5 minutes before making any other decisions. Committing to such a small window, or simply writing a worst draft, lowers the emotional stakes. It interrupts the avoidance routine by making the point of entry feel safe. This provides the brain with a bigger, better offer. Once you start, the brain experiences the sustained relief of making progress, which it eventually registers as more rewarding than the fleeting relief of avoidance. Forgiveness is also a functional tool. Practicing self-compassion after a period of procrastination reduces the very feelings of shame and guilt that act as cues for the next cycle. Ultimately, overcoming procrastination requires a shift in focus. Shifting our energy toward emotional regulation rather than simple time management allows us to work with our biology instead of fighting it.